The story begins in the modern world, where Yun Ji Young has built a name for herself as a talented young chef. Specializing in French cuisine, she brings a delicate artistry to her dishes that has earned her recognition on an international level. After competing abroad, she returns home to Korea with more than just medals and memories. Among her belongings is an old, worn cookbook belonging to her late father. He was a food historian, a man who dedicated his life to studying the culinary traditions of Joseon. For Ji Young, the book is not only a family heirloom but also a source of inspiration, a way of connecting to the roots of her culture while embracing modern techniques. As she boards her flight back to Seoul, the skies above darken unexpectedly. A rare solar eclipse casts its shadow across the land, plunging the world into twilight. Ji Young clutches her father's book, staring at the strange phenomenon outside the airplane window. Suddenly, dizziness overtakes her vision fades, and her body lurches as if pulled by unseen hands. When she opens her eyes again, she is no longer in the familiar cabin of an airplane. Instead, she lies in a dense forest, the air filled with the earthy scents of soil and pine. Confused, Ji Young wanders until she encounters armed soldiers clad in armor. They demand to know her identity, their accents sharp and their suspicion heavy. Before she can fully grasp the situation, she is bound and dragged toward the palace. Her strange clothing and manner of speech mark her as an outsider, perhaps even a spy. It is here that she meets Yi Han, the young king of Joseon. To the court, he is known as a tyrant, a man feared for his harsh punishments and distrustful nature. Yet beneath the crown lies a ruler burdened by grief. His mother, the queen, died under tragic circumstances, and he has grown to view nearly everyone around him as potential betrayers. Still, one trait defines him beyond his ruthlessness: his refined palate. Yi Han is a lover of food, a gourmet who demands perfection in every dish served before him. Dragged into his presence, Ji Young pleads for her life. The courtiers urge the king to punish her swiftly, but in desperation, she offers to cook for him instead. Amused by her audacity, Yi Han allows it, though his tone suggests he expects her to fail. In the royal kitchen, Ji Young faces immediate scorn from the other cooks. She has no allies, no tools, and no knowledge of their ways. But drawing on her training in the father's book, she crafts a dish that blends Joseon ingredients with refined techniques from her modern world. When Yi Han tastes it, the hall falls silent. His expression reveals little, but after a long pause, he calls it passable. To most ears, this sounds dismissive, but to those who know him, it is praise. Ji Young has passed her first test. She will not be executed, at least not today. The second episode deepens Ji Young's struggles. Though spared, she is far from safe. Palace life is rigid and merciless, and her presence as an outsider continues to draw suspicion. Assigned to the royal kitchens, she is treated as both competition and intruder. The head cooks dismiss her, jealous of the king's unusual interest in her food. Rivalries sharpen, and the whispers of sorcery and witchcraft follow her with every step. Her chance to prove herself comes at a banquet for foreign envoys. Yi Han demands a feast that will showcase the strength of Joseon's culture. Each cook must prepare something worthy, and Ji Young is given ingredients of little value, an intentional attempt to humiliate her. But she recalls her father's lessons and her own innovation, transforming humble foods into a dish that surprises everyone. When presented to Yi Han, the flavors capture his attention. His curiosity grows, though his pride prevents him from admitting it openly. Concubine Kang Mok-ju, the king's favored companion, notices this shift immediately. Jealousy burns within her as she watches him linger over Ji Young's creations. She begins plotting, determined to cut Ji Young out before the newcomer grows into a threat. Prince Jae-seon, a royal with ambition of his own, also takes note. Where Kang sees rivalry, Jae-seon sees opportunity. Yi Han's attention toward Ji Young could be exploited, twisted into weakness. His smile as he observes the tension is one of calculation, not amusement. Meanwhile, Ji Young begins to adapt. Her closest ally emerges in the form of Seo Gil-jeom, a kind-hearted maid who guides her through the intricacies of palace etiquette. Though small in stature and influence, Gil-jeom's loyalty becomes a vital anchor for Ji Young as she stumbles through the treacherous world of court politics. By the third episode, Ji Young's persistence begins to pay off. After several successful meals, she earns the position of royal cook. The title is both honor and curse. Every dish she presents now reflects not only on her but on the stability of the throne. A misstep could be seen as an insult, a crime, or even an act of rebellion. Yi Han summons her often, curious about her methods. Their interactions are sharp, filled with unspoken tension. He challenges her with questions, demands explanations, and occasionally allows hints of vulnerability to slip through. Ji Young begins to see the loneliness beneath his harsh exterior. In return, Yi Han recognizes in her not just skill but sincerity, something rare in his palace of lies. But danger circles ever closer. Rivals accuse her of sorcery, frightened by her modern techniques. Ingredients are tampered with, recipes stolen, and fires lit to ruin her preparations. Each attempt to sabotage her forces her to adapt more cleverly. At one banquet, she faces her greatest trial yet, preparing the centerpiece dish of a loyalty feast. Using the wisdom of her father's book, she crafts a dish that honors Joseon tradition while still carrying her unique touch. When Yi Han tastes it, his silence stretches unbearably. Then, at last, he declares it worthy of a king. The court bows in reluctant admiration. But this success draws sharper envy. Kang Mok-ju's hatred simmers, and Jae Seon's schemes grow bolder. Yi Han himself seems unsettled, his heart tugged by emotions he cannot admit. The fourth episode raises the stakes even higher. A grand cooking competition is announced, one meant to dazzle the ministers and reassert the king's dominance. Each cook is to prepare a dish showcasing the best of Joseon. For Ji Young, this is yet another trial by fire. Kang Mok-ju ensures she is given spoiled and missing ingredients, while other cooks treat her with open hostility. Despite the sabotage, Ji Young refuses to falter. She takes the ruined ingredients and reimagines them, coaxing out flavors others never considered. On the day of the competition, the hall fills with anticipation. Each dish before hers is elaborate and grand, but predictable. When her turn comes, she presents something humbler but filled with warmth and sincerity. Yi Han tastes it carefully. His eyes sharpen, then soften almost imperceptibly. He praises the dish for its honesty, declaring it unlike anything he has eaten before. Murmurs sweep the hall. Ji Young has not only won the competition but once again captured the king's attention. That night, however, victory brings little comfort. Yi Han, troubled by wine and memory, summons her to his chambers. He speaks of betrayal, of the loneliness of power, of how every meal could hide poison. Ji Young listens quietly, her heart torn between fear and compassion. For a moment, the tyrant's mask slips, revealing the man underneath, wounded, uncertain, human. Then, just as quickly, he sends her away, retreating into silence. The story resumes with the tension inside the palace reaching new heights. Ji Young, once seen as an outsider who would not survive a single day, has now established herself as a royal cook whose dishes carry the power to sway the king's mood. But that very influence makes her more vulnerable than ever. Kang Mok-ju, the king's concubine, can no longer ignore the growing attention Yi Han pays to Ji Young. What began as subtle envy now hardens into open hostility. Every glance Yi Han spares Ji Young, every word of praise he utters, only sharpens Kang's resentment.